Mr. Kane? Mr. Keller?
Staff would like to ask that we approve the agenda with an amended items. We need to request to rearrange the order that the staff are presenting in. Staff is also requesting that we go into closed session for just a few moments once we finish the budget work session to discuss a personnel matter.
I'd like to approve the agenda as amended.
Has been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda as amended. All those in favor of the roll call vote?
Mr. Estrada? Mr. Kane? Mr. Keller?
We have several department heads that will present their requests or updated requests for the capital improvement projects. I'll ask that the staff present their requests first, and then once they present their requests, we'll go back and discuss it as a whole and how it will impact the budget. So I'll ask each of them to come up, and they may have some information to distribute to you. First, we will have Harvey Cypress in regards to the Commonwealth Attorney storefront. At the April 19th budget work session, the board requested to defer the request to replace the Commonwealth Attorney building storefront, as more information was needed on what it will be replaced with. As you all are aware, and we discussed at the previous budget meeting, the current storefront is wooden and is deteriorating, and Harvey is here to present information in regards to the replacement of the storefront.
Good afternoon, honorable board members, staff. Today I'm going to discuss the Commonwealths Attorney building storefront. And in front of you, you have a memo and some pictures of the existing storefront there, and I'm going to read from this. In the current state, the frame is deteriorating quickly, and there's a concern that continued rot will cause safety issues, including the possibility of glass falling out. The building was renovated in 2012 prior to the Commonwealth Attorney moving in. The current storefront was in place during the renovation and was restored based on information that we have, as this was prior to me working for Greensville County. The awning designed by the architect had a 3-inch gap between the building and awning. And if you look on page 3 and page 5, at the pictures, you see the gap in between the storefront and the wood and the awning. And with the design of the secondary glass inside, this also caused more moisture to penetrate the wood also, and accelerated deterioration. If the storefront was replaced with wood, deterioration would still occur over time and a lot of maintenance. The proposed plan is to replace with an aluminum storefront, and this will not rust and deteriorate. It would be according to a color to match the building. This would also include insulated double painted glass that will be more energy efficient and more soundproof. And also the glass will be intended to provide additional safety enhancements for staff. So, and I request that it be installed in the budget for the next year. Anybody have any questions?
I have questions.
Yes, sir.
We're looking at 8-9 years ago.
Yes, sir.
When we did this.
Yes, sir.
And it left the total of $1 million and some dollars.
Yes,
when
sir.
we did this. Who did the work? For God's sake, for this thing to be deteriorating in this short period of time, it makes no sense.
No, sir.
So I'd like to know who the person was doing that work with it.
No, it won't be that person.
Yeah, but, you
And,
know,
but it's the original, like I said, the storefront has probably been in there. It might be the original to the building since it's been built back in, I think, the early 20s or 40s, I'm not sure. But doing away with the wood would be better. If you would go to a aluminum storefront, you'd have less maintenance on it. It would withstand the test of time. Also, as a building, about 2 building doors down, it has a storefront that's been there about 20 years. That's in excellent shape.
I guess that would be my point, that we did this 8, 9 years ago, and it's deteriorating.
Yes, sir.
And I guess I would totally question this, I'm not a builder, but maybe $100,000 just to do this?
Yes, sir.
But you don't
Oh,
know,
it-
you don't know that this portion was replaced.
No, sir, it was not replaced, so it's original to the building.
Yeah, I
So,
think the only question I had, because I've been over there and I looked at it, and it looks bad from the street when you're going past it. It also looks bad from the sidewalk when you look at it. It does look like the window might fall in a couple of spots.
yes, yes.
And I think my main question was what we were gonna replace it with, and would you answer that clearly, here, which is a little so.
Front, it would be a bronze product color, so it would match color, and
Okay.
it'd be safer, less, in the long run, it's gonna save money. So,
I think that was my main question. I wanted to know what would we replace it with and what, how durable it was gonna be, so we wouldn't be
Yes.
in this kind of situation.
that should provide you 30 years, 40
We need
years.
a motion on this.
Staff would prefer if you all are okay with waiting before you approve, just so we can hear all the other remaining capital improvement project requests. And then once we hear, from the other ones, we can discuss the impact on the budget of all of them at one time, if that's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Kenny Parker, who works with site collections as well as transportation. Today, he is here to discuss the need in regards to site collection. The board gave a consensus during the April 19th budget work session to approve the boom truck that was originally in the capital improvement project request. The initial estimate provided was $145,000. However, a new updated quote is in the amount of $162,000. The updated amount has been added to the CIP cost, which again, we will discuss at the end of presentations. Mr. Parker is also here to present additional information in regard to the boom truck request. He is here to request to replace the roll-off truck as well, and then for that to be added to the fiscal year 22 capital improvement project request to the cost of $171,000. Mr. Brown has requested that I add the second truck to the budget request. Mr. Parker, if you will give us information in regards to your CIP request.
Good afternoon, board members and staff. I've been here since 2015, and the trucks that's currently being used were in disrepair when I got here, especially one of them, the boom truck. It's a 2005, as you can see, and it's a wonder the truck is still running, and we really need that truck. It's in the shop right now. And I'm waiting for a call to go get it because we're bagged up for the last 2 weeks because we don't have it. And the roll-off truck, it's a good one, but it's the lifespan of these roll-off trucks. I've been doing this way before Greensville County even thought about getting this type of trash service. The trucks they don't have a long lifespan. You would get anywhere between 3 to 5, maybe 6 years tops, without having to have a lot of money tied into it. And as you see, it has 190,000 miles on it and 3,000 engine hours. That's what the real issue really is from the mechanic that works on our stuff, Stephen Spencer. He says that 3,000 engine hours is equivalent to like 400,000 miles. And it's not over the road, that's close quarters miles, which is kind of hard on any vehicle. And for the last year, you will see on the third page, our contractor service, which does a very good job, I will say, when we need them, but it costs, as you can see, it's like $29,000 so far. And just times that the truck has been down. And the very next page after that, we will see the total of the contracts for service and a lot of the repairs, but not all of them. Like I think it's like a year back, and it's $46,000. And like I said, I started in 2015, and we have not received anything in solid waste since I've been here. nothing. And, I have several quotes, and I'm new to this part of it, but I did a lot of research last week. I talked to Gary last week, I think like Thursday, and I just hit it hard. I never knew what a source well was, but apparently it's some type of program that's administered for municipal areas, like, because he told me to do a lot of work with Isle of Wight County, all the Virginia Beach, Tidewater area, and not normally, he found an account with Greenville County. And that's Mid-Atlantic Waste Systems. And if we were to purchase from them, I would prefer getting the boom truck from them, because if we were to get the boom truck from them, which is quoted at $163, that truck probably outlived me and Greg, which is the driver's lifespan of working here, because of the way we use it. And as far as roll-off, I would prefer getting a Mac, because I talked to Tidewater Mac. That's who currently the Mac that we have came from. And they just did a total spec of the truck that we have, which is a good truck, but it's a 2022. And with the service plan that this mechanic that we're dealing with now, he really knows how to maintain trucks. I think this truck will last a good 6 years or more without having any major issues. And I have several quotes. The boom truck, the one you will see on the back, I think is Infrastructure Solutions. That's another boom truck as well, but that's a Freightliner, which is a cheaper style of truck, and you don't have a good lifespan. And that's basically it. We in desperate need of these trucks, and it's starting to cost a whole lot of money. And I was just even asking when I was driving the truck, why are we not getting no trucks? And I don't know why. That was before my time, but we need trucks in order to keep this thing rolling the way it should, because it's starting telling us now. We had an incident that went on this past weekend because Greg just couldn't dump everything that needed to be dumped. And then I couldn't help him because we didn't have no truck. And it's getting to the point now with Greg, whenever you turn the key in the roll-off truck, you got 1,000 lights. And he don't know if he's gonna be able to work today or not. Or do we gotta call ride? So we need the trucks. Any questions?
The only question I have is, I know you need both trucks. Budget wise, say we could not afford to get you both trucks, budget wise.
If you
What would be your greatest need at this moment?
they'll roll off. But if we don't get the boom truck, like I said, it's currently in the shop. Don't know when it's gonna break down. See, really, what people don't realize that boom truck serves as a whole. I mean, if we didn't have the boom truck, that roll-off truck would have to work 4 times as hard. Because what we do with the boom truck, Mr. Conway has seen us doing, we'll go around to the sites, we'll make airspace in the dumpsters, so people can continue to fill the box up. But we don't have the boom truck. When that box fill up, and the citizen come and put a board up there and a roll-off, that's a liability. So it's more of importance than people think, because I've checked all these localities. I figured out a plan when I got here, because there wasn't a plan in place. I've never seen one man service a whole county. But I made a way and I passed it on to Greg. But that truck, that boom truck really helps, because nowhere in this locality you have just one truck servicing a whole county, but it works. And if we had 2, and then we have 2 spares, we shouldn't need no additional help for nothing.
So we cut out that.
That's right. With almost 30,000 directly to them.
I guess my question is, my concern, we got $343,000 here for 2 trucks. That's not including insurance, tax, fuel, tires, and maintenance. driver and benefits. I mean, we're at $500,000 here. How long could we contract that for $500,000?
What you mean, what you mean, like, if we were to get a contract,
We contracted all of the hauling.
I think it'll be more than that.
I don't think it would.
Okay.
I mean, with what we've spent so far, you're saying 29, 30. How much would it cost for a full year? We need to research that and do some comparison on that. I feel.
I thought at the last meeting, that was the request.
We just need some comparisons on to see what it would cost for a year's contract service versus what we're potentially going to pay.
Okay. I can find that.
Just so we've got documentation. Of what
Okay.
we're going to spend the money wisely.
Okay. I can find that out. With the one that we use anyway, or I can shop around if you want. Okay.
Do you all have any additional questions for Mr. Parker?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. And what you all are going to receive shortly in regards to the CFP request and the budget impact, it was based on a quote for a roll-up truck for $171,000. So that is going to be, if you all decide to move forward with that, we will need to add a little bit additional money in there. What Mr. Parker mentioned as far as the quote he has here, of course, we'll need to make sure we follow all purchasing guidelines, and if you all decide to move forward with this project. All right, the next item we have is Madison Phelps with the Greensville County Fire Department. Madison is here to request capital improvement funds for the fiscal year 22 budget year. The request was received verbally late last week and an initial request via email this morning. The following funds are being requested in the capital improvement project for the fiscal year 22. The first is the renovation of a kitchen and replacement of stove, which is in the amount of $26,281. The next is repainting the interior of the firehouse in the amount of $10,159. And finally is the replacement of floors in the amount of $44,715. As a reminder, these costs will need to be shared with the city and of Emporia, and it's based on how CIP projects are broken down with the city. Right now, that's based on an agreement of a 5-year average of calls. So as if we have right now, the county would assume 60.16% of these costs, and the city of Emporia would assume 39.84% of these costs. Madison?
Good afternoon. We've got the fire station improvements. You can see it's 3 different estimates I have. We received great equipment and apparatus over the years, but as far as the inside of the fire station, we've neglected it. The first one here is replacing all the cabinets, sinks, countertops in the kitchen, along with the range. Those 2 items could be broken into separate groups if needed. The next one is materials to paint all the interior walls of the fire station, to include the doors and also the ceilings. And the third one is material to replace all of the flooring. So the kitchen and the floors are the original from 1997 when the building was built. Nothing's been updated to them. As you can see in the pictures behind, there's multiple cracks throughout the floors, multiple stained areas, and just natural wear and tear from over the years of being used, not only by us, but also when they do the voting in the fire station. So not only the volunteers have to walk across it and look at it, but also the public anytime there's an election. The kitchen's the same way. It's original since 1997. It's cheaper material is used, and over the years of just absorbing moisture and frequent use, it's just disintegrating pretty much. So that needs to be replaced as well. And the ceilings, we replace ceiling tiles quite frequently. They're white now, they stain pretty easily. Any leak in the ceiling or anything like that. So we're going to go with a darker color to prevent being able to see any stains on them, so we won't have to replace them as frequent. Questions?
Has there been any discussion with the city on the shared cost?
No, that wasn't yet. This was something that was presented at the end of last week to us, verbally, and then we received from Madison, via email this morning, but no, sir, there's been no discussion, with the city with these calls.
Wouldn't it be, like, it's kind of tough on anybody that don't discuss us with us. I think we need to make sure everybody's on the same page on this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The city had previously requested an update, and we had already given them one as far as what was shared services at the time. This was something that was added at the end of last week, and we were just able to sit down and look at the impact this morning to the budget. So we have not discussed it with the city as of yet. We will do so and send them an updated request as far as what their shared services cost would be.
And then this is making sure that before we get an agreement here in the county, it has to be also agreed from the city at the same, along with the agreement. So we're not get, like they do us, stuck with something without even coming before us. So we want to make sure that what we do, we make sure they're part of what we're doing, so we don't agree to something and then they can leave us out like they've been doing us, but they don't even come before us, even ask anything.
Yes, sir, and we will make, this would be and myself, we'll have a discussion with Mr. Johnson, the city manager, we'll make them aware of these updated costs. We will need to, at some point, if they have not approved anything, we'll need to have a commitment from the board to move forward so we can advertise in the paper to meet our deadlines. But we will have a discussion with the city. Do you all have any additional questions for Mr. Phelps? Last, in regards to the department head presentations, is Lynn Parker, our landfill supervisor. And Mr. Parker is here to present a request to use current funding to construct a new landfill building. He is also requesting to update the existing FY22 landfill budget request to remove the funds that were previously allocated in the amount of $55,000 for a debt service payment to be moved to another line item to cover additional costs, including tooling and furnishings of the building. The fiscal year 22 budget request is contingent upon the approval to move forward with the construction of a new landfill building with current funding. As a reminder, these funds are in the solid waste enterprise fund and are separate from the regular county operating fund budget. Mr. Parker.
Good evening, honorable board members and staff. The purpose of this landfill facilities replacement request is to document the need for replacement of the current landfill maintenance shop, which also includes the scale house, main office, and restroom. The need for replacement is due to the current facilities no longer meeting the working conditions standards expected for Greensville County employees and OSHA requirements. The current maintenance shop was erected in 1987 and received minimum maintenance over the following years, resulting in an excessive amount of costly repairs needed. Over the years, it has become one of the lowest points in the landfill due to the constant growth and elevation brought on by daily waste intake. This results in heavy flooding during inclement weather. After a rain event in excess of a quarter of an inch or more, the floor of the shop is coated in a silty film, creating extreme slip and fall hazards to employees. The shop must be closed until that hazard can be removed and the floor dried so that normal maintenance activities can resume. This causes lost time for employees that need to be directed to the daily landfill operation. In addition, the roof has developed multiple leaks. Most recently, a leak above the main office occurred and ruined several documents that have been prepared for a DEQ on-site inspection following day. This office also houses a scale house computer and weight system that requires a dry, dust-free operation for operating conditions. Based on cost estimates for repairs in the current location creating drainage issues, staff recommends that the maintenance shop be removed and a new one built in a new location in the landfill property line. We have met with Labella during our current financial evaluation and decided on a location that will not suffer from the drainage issues as the landfill continues to grow. Furthermore, the scale house, which contains all records and DEQ documents, will be separate from the maintenance shop. By separating the two buildings, we'll be able to reduce the risk of injury or damage to landfill patrons and their property by minimizing exposure to loud noises, welding flashes, or hazardous chemicals that result from routine maintenance to landfill equipment. Landfill staff has met with Harvey Cyphers, discussed all possible solutions, and has concluded that the above statement is the best possible solution. We are requesting a total of $450,000 from the Solid Waste Disposal Enterprise Fund, money that is currently available in that fund, be allocated to cover the majority of the cost of the building. If you all give a consensus today to move forward with the project, a resolution will be presented at the May 3rd, 2021 regular board supervisor meeting. We have also sought out possible funding through a loan from the USDA for $450,000 shot costs. This would cost an additional $96,360 over the 10-year period of the loan, with an interest rate of 2.25%. Based on the interest paid, if loan funding was used, staff believes the best option would be to use current funds available and not pay additional interest. Staff is also requesting the FY 2022 landfill budget submission be updated. In the original budget request, there was a line item for debt service. Replace facilities in the amount of $55,000 to cover the first annual payment if a loan was obtained. As they are now cost savings and the building can be funded under current funds, staff is requesting to leave the $55,000 in the FY 22 budget as requested, to change the line item to replace facilities, costs, tooling, and furnishing. This will provide any additional money towards the building if needed, as well as cover costs of replacing furnishing and tooling. Attached are also pictures of the problem areas within the shop. Staff requests your direction on how to proceed in the request as discussed above.
As Mr. Parker mentioned, the reason we're bringing this to your attention today is because if you all decide to move forward with replacing the building, the fiscal year 22 portion is contingent upon that. As he mentioned, he did have $55,000 scheduled to cover what would have been the first loan payment for a new building in the fiscal year 22 budget for the Solid Waste Enterprise Fund. And he's requesting for you all to have a consensus to move forward with using current funding that he has to cover the cost, which is $450,000 of the building, and then the additional $55,000 that was budgeted for fiscal year 22 to cover any additional cost and tooling and furnishings. And again, it was just to get a consensus so he will know how to move forward and we'll know how to move forward with the budget as well, since one impacts the other.
Well, we gotta do something out there to mess up and that. Bad shape. And like he said, it needs a new location because where the hills have been built up to landfill water runs right through.
And he said this money is already in a line item in his budget.
Mr. Parker?
Yes, currently we have that money covered. I spoke with the treasurer in that fund right now. We're looking at $1,181,937.
And this is solid waste enterprise fund, so it is separate and apart from the county operating funds.
And in my opinion, it would be a great investment in the landfill. You won't have the interest if you go with the loan, you have great safety for your employees and patrons. And it's an investment into the actual structure of the landfill that'll help the value of the landfill 30 years down the road. So this building's been there 33 years. It's actually the exact same age as me. I think I've weathered a little bit better than the building, but it served its purpose. And I would hope to provide a safe work environment for everybody that works in it.
Do you all have any additional questions for Mr. Parker? If not, staff asks for a consensus just to move forward with building the new facility for the landfill. As Mr. Parker mentioned, he has funds in his current budget which will allow for that, and then as well as using the additional $55,000 that was previously allocated in fiscal year 22. So we can have a consensus if you all are in agreement. Then we will have the official resolution and any other information that we needed at the May 3rd board meeting.
I'm in support of it.
I'm in support as well, especially after looking at these pictures. This is unacceptable.
I was saying, since you have to fund it, and now you have to do something you already have.
Agreed. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, if y'all don't have any questions for the department heads, we'll move forward as far as discussing the impact on the budget. And Ms. Whitby is going to give you some information on the projects and the CIP request. While she is giving that out to you all, I'd like to remind you all that the capital improvement projects, as far as what's related to the Greensville County Public Schools, are not included. As you all are aware, that's based on the school contract that is still in negotiation between the Greensville County and the city of Emporia. So at this time, we do not know the cost of the capital improvement projects for the school system, nor do we know the percentage or breakdown of how that cost will be shared. Again, that is not included in any of the CIP costs. If you'll take a look, we'll look through this and then go over and discuss it. If we can just look through it first. You'll notice the first sheet you have is an impact of, is all of the CIP projects that have been requested, whether they be for the upcoming fiscal year 22, 23, 24, or 25. You will see all of them listed. This has been updated in addition to what you all received at the budget meeting back on April the 19th, and this has all of the new projects that have been requested to be added as well. So that's the first sheet that you have. The second sheet is the impact on the budget. I would like to remind you the landfill, when it's not included in this, is in its own separate fund. This is solely in regards to what will be impacted for Fund 1 and Fund 75. Again, you'll see that it lists the total expenses there, as well as the county share and the city share of all those projects. I know at the last meeting you are requested to move the courthouse expansion project out. However, we still need to list it in the original request, and that will be moved. You'll see on a later sheet. You'll notice that the bipolar ionization air purifier and cleaning system units, which are proposed for the Golden Leaf, South Virginia Education Center, and the Virginia Employment Commission, as well as those for the Greensville County Government Building, are listed in green. Those are two possible costs that may be covered by CARES funding, provided that those projects meet the new funding that we are anticipated to receive, and provided that you all approve those funds to be utilized for those projects. So that is a possible cost savings. Unfortunately, we cannot wait at this time for that decision to come. We were hoping to have that decision by now, but we're still waiting. But to move forward with the budget process, we will need to go ahead, and if something comes up before the final budget is approved, we can make those adjustments. We do need to go ahead and advertise the budget with what we currently have once you all give a consensus of approval. Again, you'll see as it showed the share of county as well as city, and then the total project costs. On the third sheet, you will see the landfill project, which is listed separately again, since that's under solid waste enterprise fund. You'll see the total cost is $505,000, with $55,000 of that being requested out of fiscal year 22, and the remainder being requested out of current funds in the amount of $450,000. On the next sheet, you'll see it lists the projects that are shared with the city. It lists the total cost. It does not list the breakdown. That is listed on the second sheet that you all viewed. And these are all listed as fiscal year 22 projects. And then the final sheet, the long sheet, you will see gives you all the projects broken down by fiscal year, which go through fiscal year 25. You'll see the courthouse expansion project has been moved out to fiscal year 23. The Shell building has been moved out as well. And you'll see some other projects that have been moved, or they're listed under 24 and 25 for the fiscal years. The board has the right to move and change those as needed.
My question, on the limited rule, we had it in F-23, so why is it open in F-24?
It is, I'll have to go back and look at my thought. The original one was still listed under FY24. We can move that around.
I have it for you right now. It's FY23 and FY23.
And we can switch that back. This is just a working document. As far as the future fiscal years, this is just something for you all to look at as far as making decisions and working. Nothing is set in stone for the future fiscal years. We do have the cost of the engineering for fiscal year 22 listed in for planning for the Liberty Road extension. So that can be moved. This is just a working document that we can move that around, and staff can make that move and put it under fiscal year 23. What we're concerned with as far as moving forward right now is fiscal year 22. Do you all have any questions so far?
Nothing other than I still like to see a comparison on those roads.
Okay. All right. If we can look at one other additional document, you all should have the Greensville County fiscal year 22 revenues, and it breaks everything down according to what is in the budget currently for fiscal year 21 and what is being proposed, and it has it broken down by all of your departments, all the different areas in the budget. And if you'll flip over several pages, You'll see the shared services cost is broken down as well. That is what we shared or what has been shared with the city. You'll flip over several pages. You'll notice the surplus and deficit that we have as of right now is $30,387. And that is including all of the capital improvement projects that have been presented as of now. And that includes also incorporating the city's revenue as far as the revenue from the shared services with the city. Ms. Whitby, do you have anything you'd like to add at this point?
Like you said, everything that was requested today is in the final page figure. So right now, we're short on revenues, $30,387. So if you approved everything that's been presented in this report, you would be $30,000 short.
Repeat that again, I was looking.
Okay, on this sheet right here, the last page, we've got the total revenues and expenditures, and we've got everything included in this sheet that was presented today, all the figures. So if you approved everything as it is right now with the figures today, we would be short $30,387 on revenues.
If you'll see the total expenditures for the proposed fiscal year 22 is $22,713,894. That includes all of the CIP project requests with the exception of the landfill. Again, that is a separate fund. Your total revenues that are projected as of now for fiscal year 22 are $22,683,597. And as Ms. Whitby mentioned, that is a deficit of $30,387. Again, that is with all of the capital improvement projects that you all have previously looked at and gave a consensus to move forward with, as well as the addition of the additional truck for the collection sites and also the improvements that have been presented for the fire department. Now, the way we have the budget calendar scheduled is we were scheduled to advertise on May 2nd and May 9th, and then to have a public hearing on May 17th with our adoption of the budget for June 7th. However, I know you all have asked that staff provide additional information in regards to the collection sites and the cost of how much it would be to contract these services out. What staff can do is, so we can make sure that we meet the guidelines, if you all would like to do so, we can delay the advertisement of the budget to the May 19th and 16th newspapers, and we can have the public hearing as a result at the first board meeting in June, which would be June the 7th, and then we would have adoption of the FY21 budget at the June 21st board meeting. Because to be able to advertise in the paper for Sunday, we would have to have that in this Wednesday by noon. So we request your direction if you would like for us to go ahead and try to get everything in line to advertise, or if you all would like to wait until we have all the information, we can move forward with revising the budget calendar.
I think it would be in the best interest to wait.
Question here. The school, I know we're looking at this number that you gave at the end, but what about the school? I know that had to be a part of what we're doing, and I know we gave up some figures the last time. So have we looked at things that I'm for sure that we probably want to take out the school budget, and how that affecting what we're doing this?
As far as the overall operating budget that you have for the 22 million, with the schools, the staff has added in the figure of 6.081 million. That's based on paying a ADM, the average daily membership, strictly across the board, plus a 5% premium, which is one of the things that have been presented by the county attorneys in response to the mediation and also in response to the city. So the operating costs of the schools, yes, sir, have been included in this budget. And again, that's 6.081 million, and that's based on the average daily membership, and then also including a 5% premium on top of that. As far as the school CIP requests, no, they have not been included, no sir, at this time, because that would be based on an agreement with the schools. So we're not sure yet as of how that would look as far as the CIP request. So the CIP numbers for the school have not been included in this budget. The school board presented an updated budget request, and they did put one of the things on hold. The windows was one in a cost of 1.5 million for CIP. I know they decided to hold off at this point on that. But again, what we have in front of you is based on the operating cost, which is the $6 million. for the ADM, the average daily membership, with the 5% in premium. And again, the capital improvement projects for the schools are not included in this budget.
I think it'd be the best to wait to make sure.
Okay, if you all would like to just wait, we can at this point, and what we can do is, if you all would like, we can have a budget session prior to the May 3rd board meeting. We should have, hopefully have all the answers by then, and that way you'll be able to make a decision. So we can go ahead and get it advertised. We will have to make a decision at that budget work session to have it advertised in time for the May 9th to meet the deadline. Do you all have any additional questions for staff? If not, I would request that we have a motion to adjourn. However, I request that the board as well as staff go into a closed meeting to discuss personnel matters.
So moved.
Okay.
Go ahead, I move we go into closed session.
As the move, we then go to closed session, all those who roll call.
Ms. Scott,
Aye.
Mr. Kane, Mr. Conway.
Thank you.